Hello and welcome back to SpriteGuard Plays HyperRogue. We are setting out into the new version that dropped just a week, maybe 2 weeks ago by the time this goes up. But I have been playing around with this a little bit, and this has been kind of the first opportunity that I have had to make a video of the new version, the new areas. Bunch of new areas in this update, so we are going to check them all out, or at least as many of them as we can. And we're going to, my goal for today, my kind of big moonshot goal, is to try and do a Hyperstone quest. And the Hyperstone quest has gotten a lot more difficult, because there are some more areas and some extremely challenging areas, including one area that is just about the most difficult area I have encountered in this game. And I'm really not sure the best way to tackle it, but that is something that we will be working on today. So, as always, we want to kind of be careful, be aware of our surroundings, not move too quickly. I am a little bit eager to get on to the new areas, especially knowing that they are all unlocked fairly early on. We only need 30 treasures in order to get into most of them. I don't actually know how many new areas there are in total. I have seen, I think, 3 new areas, maybe 4, depending on how you count things. And I am pretty pleased with the ones that I have seen, but if there's anything later on in the game, I have not even had an opportunity to try it out. So we are going to try and sneak through that door before that sandworm blocks it off. And we only need 10 more treasures, so we are going to head into the living cave. I saw a discussion on the forums yesterday when I was reading this, about possible changes in future versions, and one thing people were talking about was maybe making the jungle a later area. And I was thinking about that, and the jungle is definitely the most challenging of the early game areas, of the starting areas. And I would even say of the kind of the first 30 treasures, it's the most difficult. It is one of the most difficult areas, and it is, it takes a lot of getting used to, and so people were saying that new players might not really be willing to, or prepared to deal with that, and that it might scare people off. And it certainly didn't scare me off. It was something that I found very intimidating, and I do still actually try to avoid the jungle, because it's just so difficult and so dangerous. But I think that it is, I really like having a very challenging area available right from the start, and so if that was going to be moved to later on in the game, I would want still there to be something really challenging right out the gate, because I like being able to start out the game. And this is something that I struggle with in a lot of roguelikes. I like being able to pick up the game and right away have something challenging. So this is the first of the new areas that we're going to encounter today, the Minefield. And right away we have stepped onto a 1 cell, and we don't have enough information to safely proceed. And so I am going to go to a different entrance and see if we can make some headway. And here we have found a little bit of a clear area that we can work our way into. So basically this is Minesweeper. The rules are pretty much the same. When we step onto a cell, we find out how many cells around it have mines under them, and the mines are an instant kill. They will basically put fire on the cell that we're standing on and all of the cells around it. So unless we have an orb of teleport, we are just going to lose right away. And so I want to see if we can clear out a path. Once you get 10 treasures in this area, you actually get a little bit of a boost. You can clear things out a little bit more easily. So here's actually the first place where we have some 1 cells that we know are safe. Because we know which cell contains the mine, we know that all of these 1 cells already have a neighbor that's a mine already, so we can clear out around them. And so we are going to try and clear our way toward these eggs, and basically the natives of this area are bomber birds. And they lay these bomber bird eggs that are very valuable for reasons that are not completely clear. I think, let's see, bomber bird eggs are big and tasty and thus valuable. Okay, so that's why. They hatch when left alone for some time, but this will never happen if you are watching. So they only hatch when they are off screen, which I think is a neat idea. So here's a 1 that we know is only next to 1 cell. So this 1 we know is next to a mine, and we can clear out around it. Same with that one. And let's see, this is a 0, so we can clear out a lot of stuff. And that will actually let us start clearing in this direction. And hopefully will allow us to get over to this bomber bird egg. So here we have a 1 that we know what it's next to, and this 1 we actually know what it's next to. But unfortunately that's not quite enough information. We're just a little bit shy of the information that we actually need to be able to get to that egg. I know that there's probably a safe route to it, but we are missing just a little bit of information. So we can clear out around that, and that gives us a 0 that we can clear out, and that allows us to get to that egg. So this is an area that we have to play very carefully, that we kind of have to be really methodical and kind of slow, and so in a way it's kind of similar to the Land of Power. We can be a little bit faster because we tend to get information about a lot of area, and so we can kind of move really quickly once we know that there's a series of moves that we can make very safely. But it has that same kind of, we're going to have to be talking a lot about tactics. 3 mines next to this one, so we are going to have to be really careful until we can clear this out a bit. And one of the things that I will do sometimes to kind of make sure that I'm safe is I will step onto a 0 cell, kind of step onto it and back, even though I know that all of the cells around it are safe. I will tackle them 1 at a time, just to be extra sure if I'm in an area that is a little bit dicey. And we are actually getting close to one of the other new areas, the ocean, which is really big and really dangerous, and so I may actually want to take a break in between tackling the Minefield and the ocean. So we may actually go take kind of a side track and go find some orbs of safety. But what we can actually see from here is the ocean has tides that will come in and out. So you can see there's water, and then it pulls away, and that has some really interesting properties that we will get to explore in more depth later on. So that will get us another bomber bird egg. We are at 6, so we are getting pretty close to 10, at which point things will speed up quite a lot. Only need 2 more, so let's see if we can get those quickly and easily, and it looks like we're going to be able to do that. Looks like we have a lot of options. There we go. And so now you can see all of the cells around a 0 cell will get cleared out automatically for us now. And I actually see a land of eternal motion that I would like to enter. And we also are going to want to try and find the orbs for the minefield. They're really interesting and will be very useful for us. But for now, we're just going to head into the land of eternal motion, and we are going to try and get an orb of safety. So that's going to require 10 phoenix feathers to start with. I was reading and watching a little bit. There was recently a very good speedrun, under 9 minutes. Someone basically figured out some new ways of playing that really allowed them to do a lot of stuff that I didn't even think was possible. They actually got under 9 minutes while going through the graveyard and getting dead orbs. And part of the reason that they were able to do that was they made the observation that if you spin the mouse wheel, you can actually move extremely quickly. And so they used that basically to allow themselves to move faster than any of us had been able to move in the past. Now we are still 1 phoenix feather shy of an orb of safety, so going to have to kind of scan around, try and find my way into one that's not too difficult to get. I don't want to go off on... no, we're going to get pushed away. So we're going to have to, once again, kind of go back out into the land of eternal motion, and we can practice our speedrun technique, though I would probably turn the animation speed quite far up if I was going to do a speedrun with this technique, just because you get so far off center by doing this. But it is very satisfying when you can get it right, because it just really increases the speed at which you can do things, and especially in the land of eternal motion, that is very useful. And for me doing these recordings, it's also very useful because it's a little bit quieter. I have a little bit less of the click, click, click in the background. And so I like that a little bit better. It's not something I think makes a huge difference, and I don't think it's something that I'm going to pay an excessive amount of attention to, but it's nice to have that available to me. So here is an orb of safety. We're going to drop into that, and we are going to wrap it up here. In the next episode, we are going to be looking for the ocean. We're going to be gathering amber and pearls from the ocean, and so that is coming up in the future. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you'll join me in the future, but most of all, thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.